Hello and welcome. My name is Jeffrey Kennedy and welcome back to another episode of Elliott Wave Junctures. As you know, there are two types of modalities with respect to waves in regard to the wave principle. You have motive waves and you have corrective waves. Now in the motive wave family, you have impulse waves and ending diagonals or diagonals. In the corrective section or the corrective portion of the two types of modalities, you have zigzags, flats, and triangles. Now as you know, in recent days we've actually examined zigzags and we've also examined flats. Today we're going to examine the triangle. Now within the triangle family, there's actually three types of triangles. You have contracting triangles, you have barrier triangles, and you have expanding triangles. The most common that you'll encounter, well, roughly say 80% of the time, is going to be the contracting variety. And that's what we have here in front of you. This is a contracting triangle because, as you can see here, you see the trend lines which connects the extremes of waves B and D and A and C actually converge. Now this actual substructure, specific substructure of an Elliott wave triangle is that it is a five-wave move identified as waves A, B, C, D, and E. Moreover, each one of those waves, each structure within the move, actually breaks down into three smaller waves, also identified as waves A, B, and C. So this is what a textbook Elliott wave triangle actually looks like. And in this instance, specifically, it is a contracting triangle. Okay, now what we're going to be looking at next here are just a few examples. Here's a nice triangle here, and as you can see here, the labeling is actually incomplete. So let me go ahead and finish the labeling here. This would be waves A, B, C. Now we need a D and E because, again, with respect to triangles, what we have is a five-wave pattern where each wave subdivides into three smaller waves. So here's my waves A, B, C, D, and E. And again, notice the trademark converging trend lines. Again, that's a good way to actually identify a contracting triangle. Now the next pattern we'll look at is also a triangle. This is, again, this is an individual stock. Ticker symbol is CSCO. This is Cisco. And this is actually on the Humble 100-minute time frame. And again, notice the contracting the trend lines which connects the extremes of waves B and D and A and C, they actually converge. And again, this is what a contracting triangle typically looks like. Now the next pattern we're going to look at is a triangle that I've shown also before in McDonald's, and this is an A, B, C, D, E. Notice the converging trend lines, but also in this instance here, notice that wave B ends beyond the origin of wave A. This is actually referred to as a running triangle when that happens, and it's a variation of the contracting triangle. So you have, in this instance here, a contracting triangle, but whenever that extreme of wave B ends beyond the origin of wave A, simply referred to as a running triangle. Again, with respect to triangles, you have essentially three types. You have the contracting variety, you have the barrier variety, and then you have the expanding variety. Contracting triangles are the most frequent, followed then by barrier, and then lastly followed by the expanding. It's a five-wave structure identified as waves A, B, C, D, and E. Each wave of a triangle subdivides into three smaller waves, and finally, the triangle may only form independently in the wave 4, wave B, or wave X wave positions. In other words, they always precede the final move of a sequence. So if you see a triangle, in other words, is what the market is telling you is that the party's almost over. That